Episode 2, Interpersonal Skills. In this episode, we look at listening, and with listening comes questioning. These two are the most basic elements of good communication, listening to others and asking questions. The physical process of hearing, where sounds enters your eardrum and is registered in your brain, is not quite the same as listening. Listening is more of an attitude, a desire to understand what is being communicated. This is quite essential as a communication skill. Many of us don't listen very well. We fake it a lot of the time. We pretend we are listening when we really aren't. And this can create a whole lot of trouble with other people. Well, the good news is we can all learn to be better listeners. We talk about listening in two types, passive listening and active listening. Let's look at passive listening. Passive listening is when we hear the sounds, but haven't taken an attitude that allows us to hear the message. Active listening is where we make a conscious effort to hear and understand the message. Remember, good listening is more of an attitude, which is quite different from hearing. Let's look at 3 steps of how we can achieve active listening. Active listening is when you're looking at 3 things: nonverbal cues, short verbal cues, or feedback. Let's start with nonverbal cues. Nonverbal cues are cues such as eye contact, leaning towards the speaker, and an alert expression on your face. Short verbal cues are cues such as, okay, I understand. And finally, feedback, where you summarize or clarify or ask questions. When you begin to do these 3 steps, you are working towards improving your active listening skills. Non-verbal cues, such as eye contact, leaning towards the speaker, and having an alert expression on your face. Short verbal cues, understand, and feedback, where you actually ask a question or summarize what the speaker is saying. Getting ready to listen becomes being prepared psychologically. It's like thinking, okay, another person is taking a turn and I need to be ready to listen. It is important that you remember this. Getting ready is being psychologically prepared. When we make the decision to listen for total meaning, we listen to the content, not just to the content of what is being said, but also the attitude behind what is being said. Is the speaker happy? Are they angry, sad, excited, or something entirely different? While you are listening, you need to be also be ready to respond to feelings. The content, which is the words that are spoken, is one thing, but the way people feel really gives the full value of the message. So be sensitive to what the speaker's feelings are at the time they are speaking. Responding to the speaker's feelings adds an extra dimension of listening. Are they disgusted? Are they angry or in love? Or are they excited? Perhaps they are just ambivalent. These are all feelings that you can reply to in your part of the conversation as a listener. Finally, let's look at cues, both reading cues and demonstrating cues. As a listener, to be an active listener, you need to be able to read the speaker's cues, but you also need to demonstrate cues. Let's look at reading cues. Really listening means that we are also very conscious of the non-verbal aspects of the conversation. What are the speaker's facial expression? What are their hand gestures? What is their posture telling us? Their voice, is it loud? Is it shaky? Are they stressing certain parts of their message or certain points in their message? Do they repeat certain aspects? Do they accentuate certain points or parts or meanings of their entire speech? Are they mumbling or having difficulty with finding the words they want to say? These are cues that we can read into the speaker's facial expression, number one, their voice, number two. Are they stressing certain parts, or are they mumbling or having difficulty finding words they want to say? Demonstrating cues, this is your part in active listening. When you listen to someone, these techniques will show a speaker that you are actually paying attention. Of course, providing that you are not faking them or acting them out. We'll have two cues that you can demonstrate. These are physical indicators or physical cues and verbal cues. Let's look at the physical cues to start with. This includes you making eye contact, nodding your head from time to time in agreement, leaning in towards the conversation, or leaning back where you are, where it's appropriate and you have certain questions, or leaning forward where you are showing some form of interest or want clarification. You can also give verbal cues. Verbal cues are, again, we touched on these phrases such as, go on, really, then what? You are actively listening and participating in the conversation. Last of the verbal cues, and very important of the verbal cues, is questioning. You can use questions for clarification or summarizing statements. For example, the speaker has just made a statement, so I'll give you two examples that you can use as summarizing questions or clarifying questions. Number one, do you mean they are charging $40 for a cup of coffee? Number two, so after you got the cab, got to the store, and found the right sales clerk, what happened then? These are some examples of questions you could use to summarize or to participate in a conversation where you are the listener working towards your active listening. This wraps up what we have for you in episode 2. See you in episode 3.